Hello and welcome to this Against the Storm tutorial on Biomes. As I mentioned in the introductory tutorial, this series will be covering all aspects of the gameplay, all of the various features and mechanics of the game. Against the Storm has undergone many overhaul changes in its 2+ years in early access, and the biomes are no exception. However, now that the game is in version 1.0, we can fully understand and describe how its features work. This tutorial will explain all of the key features of the biomes and provide some tips and tricks along the way. The first thing to note is there are 6 different biomes, which I mentioned in the world map tutorial, and you can see 5 of those on the world map that I'm showing here. The first biome you encounter is the Royal Woodlands. It shows as green on the map, and it is the biome that you play at least the first 2 tutorials in. If we want to take a look at what the biome kind of consists of, what it means, what it has, the Royal Woodlands. The Queen's Forests were once part of the smoldering city, but the Blightstorm reclaimed this land. The Royal Woodlands are rich in roots, moss broccoli, mushrooms, and flax, with a decent amount of dewberries and clay. The ground is fertile and soft, which makes it perfect for farming. And so part of that is indicated here with an average amount of fertile soil, and the rest of it is indicated here with the resources that you gather from the trees in the Royal Woodlands, primarily wood, but also will have some resin, plant fiber, and eggs. And the Royal Woodlands will also have many resources on the ground, including those that were already mentioned, namely clay, plant fiber, berries, mushrooms, roots, vegetables, meat, eggs, and sea marrow. Yes, you will get eggs from both, and you will get plant fiber from both the trees and the ground. Finally, each biome has a biome effect, one or more biome effects or biome-specific things. This one in the Royal Woodlands is the Gift of the Woodlands. The biome effect is in the Royal Woodlands. The Royal Woodlands are very lush and rich in timber. Trees give more wood. And so you have, I think it's like 160% chance or 100% chance to get one log plus a 60% chance to get a second log from every tree. And then you also get a small chance for these other 3 items from the trees as well. They're probably about 20%. I don't remember the exact numbers. But if you mouse over a tree in the game, it will show you those exact numbers. And we'll take a look at one of the Royal Woodlands at the end of this video. The second biome you will most likely encounter is the Marshlands. The Marshlands is a harsh and cold land that has been claimed by many different and extremely resilient species of fungi. The ground here is extremely hard and rocky, making it difficult to farm. This region is most famous for the giant organisms that can be found in its forests. And so you can see here that there is a small amount of fertile soil in this biome. This also hints at the giant organisms, which we will talk about in just a moment. From this biome, from the trees, you can get wood, of course. No bonus wood in this one, however. Mushrooms and leather. And from the ground, you can find eggs, stone, mushrooms, meat, grain, coal, and copper. The biome effects here are not that one, sorry, don't ignore that one, that's for the world tile. Gathering knowledge, biome effect. The marshlands are a gatherer's paradise. Gathering speed is increased by 10% for every 2 workers assigned to gathering camps. Bonus does not affect the woodcutters' camps. This is really, really useful because it's a little bit tough sometimes to gather enough resources in the marshlands. But because it doesn't affect the woodcutters' camps, it's even tougher to gather enough wood in this biome, which is where things like coal come into play very strongly because it can be also used as fuel in the hearth. But more on that when we talk about the actual gameplay on the town maps. Giant organisms. The marshlands are home to enormous life forms. Giant resource nodes can be found in forbidden glades, each glade will have a different one. There are 3 unique giant organisms. One is a leviathan, a dead leviathan. Another is a proto-fungus, and another is a proto-wheat. Each of these is gathered from one of the gathering camps in the game. However, it has to be the large gathering camp. So you have to take the blueprint for that camp in order to be able to harvest those giant organisms. The giant leviathan, or the dead leviathan rather, gives you a large supply of meat, as well as other goods such as crystallized dew, I think leather, possibly eggs, a variety of things. The giant fungus gives you, and I think I called it a proto-fungus earlier, it's a giant fungus. The giant fungus gives you primarily mushrooms, with several other resources also. And the proto-wheat gives you primarily wheat, with several other resources also. Once you're able to break into danger glades, or rather forbidden glades, you will be really, really happy you have these, that they have these. There are 3 forbidden glades in every Marshlands map. Each one contains one of the giant organisms, whereas on other biomes maps there are usually more than 3 forbidden glades. But because they want to have one and only one of each of these, and they want you to be guaranteed to get one every time you open a forbidden glade, there are only 3 forbidden glades on Marshlands maps. The third biome in the list is the Scarlet Orchard. The Scarlet Orchard underwent a revamp during the early access period. It went from a very boring biome to a biome with a very unique aspect to it. That aspect is, we'll cover in just a moment. The Scarlet Orchard is a beautiful yet dangerous land that is colored a strange shade of crimson. It's called the Herb Garden of the Kingdom due to its abundance of herbs, berries, and roots. It also has an average amount of fertile soil. Here in the Scarlet Orchard, you will get Royal Archaeologist, which is a building blueprint. Every viceroy embarking on an expedition to the Scarlet Orchard is assigned a Royal Archaeologist. You gain access to a new essential building, the Archaeologist's Office. And Buried Mysteries. This is a biome effect, a lush and exotic land filled with prehistoric remains. Ancient excavation sites here can be found here. So as you can see, these two kind of go together. You use the archaeologist to help you find buried mysteries, or to help you exploit them a little bit by using some of the resources you can gain from them to boost some of other aspects of your town. In this biome, you will find wood on the trees, of course, or from the trees, but also copper ore, pigment, and plant fiber. One might wonder if the copper ore is the reason why everything is tinted orange. Maybe the pigment too. On the ground you can find reeds, stone, berries, roots, eggs, herbs, grain, sea marrow, and copper ore. With copper ore also being from the ground, that also helps tinge everything orange. The fourth and final standard biome is the coral forest. It is this lighter shade of purple on the map. And the coral forest is the true source of the coral's growth is unknown. Contrary to common belief, it doesn't usually appear in flooded regions. The unique influence of the coral mutates trees into distinctive strands that offer various resources. This biome also has an average amount of fertile soil, and it has two unique additional effects. Diverse flora. A biome effect. Vegetation here mutates into unique strands. Each type of tree provides distinct bonus resources. And inspiring pressure. The forest is as scary as it is beautiful. Villagers have a 3% chance of producing double yields for each hostility level. This one kind of is similar to the effect that we have, kind of similar in outcome to the effect we get in the Marshlands, but it has a little bit different trigger and a little bit different actual effect, but it kind of helps make sure that you gather enough stuff from the relatively sparse and sparing nodes, given that there aren't many different choices of resources here. The trees, however, are unique in this biome. And this biome was added during the early access period, by the way. The trees all give wood, but they also give a large amount of secondary resources. One type of tree will give plant fiber. Another type of tree will give meat and crystallized dew. And a third type of tree will give stone and incense. Look for those 3 unique types of trees and note which ones give you which resources, and target those trees for those resources when you need them and you are able to do so. On the ground you will find reeds, stone, vegetables, meat, insects, herbs, and coal. Beyond the 4 primary biomes, there are 2 sort of special biomes. The first one we can find here on this map, and that is the Cursed Royal Woodlands. If you notice, there are only patches of 1 or maybe just a few of those clustered together, because the Cursed Royal Woodlands are a very unique biome. They are a cursed area of the Royal Woodlands that is haunted by the lost souls of warriors fallen in the Great Civil War. The storm here is especially dangerous, and the forest more hostile than anywhere else. The Queen will handsomely reward any viceroy brave enough to settle this part of the world. The conditions here are the Cursed Battlefield biome effect. The forest has reshaped itself. It is impossible to recognize the danger of the glades, which are now all of even size. And Restless Spirits, a biome effect. This land has seen a lot of bloodshed during the Great Civil War. Restless spirits can be found in the forest. So, as the first one states, all glades are the same size. Even without the glade markers, you can definitely tell whether it's a small glade or either a danger or forbidden glade in the game map itself. But in this biome, specifically, you are unable to tell, and they are not marked. So you could go and open up the most recent or closest biome, the glade, rather, and it may be a small glade, or have small glade contents, I should say, or it may be a danger glade, or it may be a forbidden glade. You have no way of knowing, at least and until you take one of the cornerstone effects that gives you the ability to peek into the contents of a glade. At that point, you could use that to tell what each glade contains and be able to discern whether it's a small glade of contents, a danger glade, or possibly a forbidden glade. Those two are a little bit harder to tell from the overview. The Restless Spirits spawns former warriors' ghosts in random glades around the map, and they serve as an optional objective to where you can satisfy some request of theirs. Sometimes they want you to give them stuff, I think, but other times they want you to do something or accomplish something in your town. If you satisfy their objective, you get a nice bonus. If you don't, no harm, no foul. And I think most of them, if not all of them, will disappear after an amount of time. So you'll want to take care of some of them quicker than others. From the trees here, similar to the Royal Woodlands, you can get wood, insects, plant fiber, and roots. I think the eggs from the Royal Woodlands were swapped out for insects here. And on the ground you can find clay, plant fiber, mushrooms, vegetables, insects, herbs, grain, sea marl, and copper ore. So as you might have noticed through all 5 of these biomes, the different resources are available in multiple different biomes, but there's a different resource pattern for each biome. And this is to make them unique and exciting and interesting for your gameplay as you're progressing through the world map. The final biome is the sealed forest. It is only found in the 6 adjacent tiles around each seal. It is used specifically for closing that seal and must be done when you have enough fragments saved up to accomplish it. We'll cover that biome as well as the seals themselves and how all of that works in a later tutorial on seals. This pretty much covers everything about the other biomes in the game. The remaining tutorials in this series will cover the other aspects of the game, as I mentioned at the beginning. I do want to show you, though, how you inspect some of the resources in one of the biomes in the game, even though we'll probably also cover that content in a gameplay tutorial later in this series. For this portion of the tutorial, I have started a town in the Royal Woodlands, and this town has a reasonable number of resources available in the starting glade, and we can also inspect the trees. We also have down here the list of effects on this game, and it always includes the biome effects that you get for the biome you chose. So if you're ever unsure about what effects are affecting your game, you can always come down here and look at all of these, and it will always include the biome effects and the biome blueprint in the case of the Scarlet Orchard. So to inspect a tree, you simply just mouse over the tile where the tree is located, and it will tell you about that tree. The lush tree has 2 charges. It contains wood plus an additional 100% chance for a second piece of wood, 15% chance for resin, 10% chance for plant fiber, and 5% chance for eggs. So every tree you chop down will eventually give you, in this biome, will eventually give you 4 pieces of wood. 2 per charge, and on each charge, 1 is the base guarantee, and the second is the bonus number. Also in this biome, we can find lots of fertile soil, even here in a starting glade oftentimes. There are several farm buildings that you can use on fertile soil. We will cover those when we talk about buildings and recipes later in this series. But you just have to place the farm buildings nearby and then build farms on the fertile soil, or in the case of a couple of buildings, build them directly on the fertile soil to obtain the resources they give. Finally, we have a couple of resource nodes, mushrooms, which will give you 1 piece of mushroom, 1 unit of mushroom for every charge on the node, plus an additional 20% chance for bugs. Note that bugs are not included in the natural resources found on the ground because they are only a bonus resource in this biome. By the way, this conditions screen will show you the summary of the effects of the different starting effects you get from the map, as well as the resources you get from the trees and the natural resources on the ground, as well as the fertile soil availability. This is found via the escape key or the menu key here. Clay will give you a 100% chance for clay on each of the 20 charges in these nodes, and will also give you a 50% chance for a piece of copper and a 20% chance for a piece of root. I want to thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below, or join me on Discord, the link is in the description below, and discuss the game with me there. If there are aspects of the biomes that I didn't cover properly, please let me know and I will add pinned comments to the video with any supplemental content. If you have suggestions for other tutorials, feel free to leave those as well. I will also be starting the game over with a fresh save in a new Let's Play series, so you can see some practical use of the biomes information in that series. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.